I'm an American citizen. I'm allowed to do whatever I want to do.
Number 10. Not human parenting. Justin Timberlake.
A lot of families are spending more time together than they ever imagined.
Parenting isn't always easy, and it got even more challenging during lockdown. Most people can understand that. However, Justin Timberlake did himself no favors with his comments. Interviewed on SiriusXM's Hits 1, the singer was asked how he was coping with parenting alongside his wife, Jessica Biel, during the ordeal. Timberlake replied, "24-hour parenting is just not human."
No human is made to be a 24-hour parent, so shout out to all the parents out there.
Well, human or not, most parents are parents 24/7. Social media erupted, calling the artist tone deaf and making known just how much the average person has to juggle on top of raising youngsters without the finances Timberlake and Biel have.
That having a 16, 17-month-old at home changes the way you look at music.
It changes everything.
Number 9. Not the Porsche, Gordon Ramsay. So-called financial experts often tell younger folk that to afford to own a property, they need to cut out buying Starbucks and other small luxuries. Apparently, there's a simpler way. In 2023, Gordon Ramsay was interviewed on the podcast High Performance. He detailed the time he needed an additional £20,000 for a deposit on a flat and turns to his father-in-law, Chris Hutchinson, for the loan, which he promised he'd pay back in a year.
Chris, about that deposit, Tan and I, we've got half of it, we need the other 20 grand. I'll pay you back in a year. He said, okay.
Hutchinson advised Ramsay to sell his Porsche 911 first. Somehow, this was a light bulb moment for the chef at the time, and he did just that.
Tan and I loved the car, and we didn't even have a f***ing house. We didn't have a flat. We didn't have a roof over our heads.
Viewers, however, immediately mocked how unrelatable Ramsay's struggle was. After selling the luxury car, fear not, Ramsay bought it back a decade later.
I did sell it. And 10 years later, I went and bought it back.
Number 8. Bribery Bash, Rita Ora. When the lockdown was in effect in 2020, many were scared, but still followed the rules to keep others safe. So when Rita Ora broke the guidelines, folks were mad. After returning to London from a private gig in Egypt, the singer was supposed to quarantine for 2 weeks. Instead, the following day, Ora bribed a restaurant £5,000 to host her 30th birthday.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
At the time, there was a ban on different households mixing indoors. Ora's team allegedly also requested the facility turn off the CCTV.
CCTV inside was switched off to enable revelers to evade punishment. Rita Ora has already apologized.
Ora was labeled selfish for her actions and for throwing money to get what she wanted. The singer apologized for her actions and was fined £10,000 for her shindig.
These celebrities and these influencers should be thinking very, very hard about their own actions and what kind of message that sends out.
Number 7. Climate criminal, Kylie Jenner.
Some fans even called out the couple for posting about their extravagant lifestyle when global warming is rising and the cost of living continues to go up across the U.S.
The battle against climate change is something many of us care about. People have adapted their everyday routines in an effort to reduce carbon emissions and generally help the environment. But then there's Kylie Jenner. In 2022, she uploaded an image of her and Travis Scott embracing between 2 planes with the caption, "You want to take mine or yours?" The public deemed her a climate criminal, not only for using a private jet for short trips, but also for seemingly gloating about it.
One user commented, "Whose plane should we pollute the earth today?" Another added, "What about combating climate change?"
Speaking of the Kardashian-Jenner clan, during the pandemic, there was a toilet paper shortage as people panicked and hoarded it. Well, Khloe Kardashian decided to TP her sister Kourtney's property as a joke, which frustrated people who were struggling to find the stuff in the first place.
Wherever you are in the world, you can relate that toilet paper is kind of a hot commodity these days. Therefore, when people saw Khloe wasting it on a prank, they were pretty pissed.
Number 6. Imagine, Gal Gadot, and many, many others.
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try.
On occasion, celebrities like to spread awareness about catastrophes or write encouraging messages on socials. When done right, it's often appreciated. And when it's not, well, it's not. In 2020, Gal Gadot and Kristen Wiig led a project with the intention of boosting morale during the pandemic by releasing a cover of John Lennon's Imagine, sung by various celebs. Instead of lifting the world, though, it made many people angry. Imagine no possessions from people with a lot of possessions is maybe a little hypocritical. The video was called cringe and out of touch by people all over social media.
Together, we can imagine a better world. Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try.
Others criticized the celebrities for taking the time to make the video instead of donating to useful causes.
And the world will be as one.
Number 5. Monkey Business. Justin Bieber. After arriving in Germany during his 2013 tour, Justin Bieber's pet Capuchin monkey, OG Mally, was seized by officials.
Mally, there she is, was seized by German customs when Bieber failed to produce the required vaccination and import papers on his European tour. So they basically seized Mally and said she's got to stay here.
This came as a result of the singer not being able to provide correct paperwork for Mally, and even after being given a deadline to submit the paperwork, Bieber failed to do so. It was said that he no longer wanted Mally, so he was rehomed.
The monkey is only 14 weeks old, and without Justin to cuddle, the baby has found a soft toy teddy bear.
People, including animal experts, were livid at Bieber for treating Mally like an accessory.
And it looks like Mr. Bieber doesn't actually give a monkeys, as he hasn't even been in touch.
We haven't had any news from Mr. Bieber.
This, of course, isn't the only time he has felt the public's wrath. On Instagram Live in 2020, Bieber and his wife Hailey spoke to Kendall Jenner, with Bieber trying for some empathy for those struggling during the pandemic, but largely failing. Number 4. $1 Million Acceptance. Dr. Dre. Sometimes celebrities try to hide their nepotism. However, in the modern day, doing so will quickly get you called out. In 2019, Dr. Dre put on social media that his daughter, Truly Young, had been accepted into the University of Southern California. He took a jab at people like Felicity Huffman for her bribery scandal, stating that Young did it all herself.
The caption read, quote, "My daughter got accepted into USC all on her own. No jail time."
But Dre fails to mention that in 2013, he and Jimmy Iovine gave USC $70 million to build the Jimmy Iovine and Andre Young Academy for Arts, Technology, and the Business of Innovation.
Just one teeny problem.
Dr. Dre has a building named after him at USC because he and Jimmy Iovine have donated about $70 million to the school.
Which makes his post ironic.
The backlash got so bad that Dre deleted the post on Instagram.
The good doctor took the post down, but
if she is qualified to go there, then he has right to say whatever he wants.
And we don't know because he hasn't said.
We don't know what her grades are.
Number 3. Working class luxury. Victoria Beckham. It's not often the spouse of a famous face would be the first to call out their entitlement.
We're very working class.
Be honest.
I am being honest.
But that's exactly what happened in the 2023 documentary series Beckham. At one point, Victoria Posh Spice Beckham is chatting about growing up working class. Well, David wasn't having that. Popping his head into the room, he pressed his wife to be honest and asked what kind of car her father drove during her childhood. Eventually, after trying to skirt around the demand, Victoria stated it was a Rolls-Royce.
My dad did.
No, one answer.
My dad.
What car was it?
Alright, it's not a simple answer
what
because.
What did you get your dad to drive?
It depends.
No.
Okay,
What
in the
car?
80s, my dad had a Rolls-Royce.
Thank you.
With that, the former footballer's work was done. While David was praised online, some were still livid at Victoria for trying to alter her image by rewriting her history.
Posh Spice is a little detached from reality on this one. The bottom line is working hard does not equate to working class.
Number 2. Super Yacht Isolation. David Geffen. The pandemic seemingly was an event that brought the entitlement of some celebrities to the forefront. In 2020, with lockdown in effect in many nations, billionaire music and film producer David Geffen decided to rub his wealth in people's faces.
Love it or hate it, this giga yacht owned by billionaire David Geffen is definitely turning a lot of heads.
In a tone-deaf post on Instagram, alongside a sunset photo of his expensive super yacht, Geffen stated he was isolating on the boat in the Grenadines in the Caribbean.
To me, it seems on the borderline of absurd.
The downside, the New York Times reports the fuel from Geffen's boat releases more than 16,000 tons of emissions every year.
He finished the caption by mentioning he hoped that everyone else was safe. Instead, people were furious for his boast and called on Geffen to donate supplies to medical centers. The backlash was so bad that the billionaire turned his Instagram private, and at the time of writing, it remains that way.
Richard Lehman from Visit Portland says not only is Geffen's celebrity status adding to all that boat talk, it's just a big boat.
Number 1. Karen Corden. James Corden.
There were stories about me being banned from a restaurant.
There's a well-known expression that you can find out who a person is by how they treat those who serve them. Well, in 2022, news came out that actor and TV host James Corden was banned from the New York restaurant Balthazar after allegedly yelling at staff over an omelet his wife had ordered.
In the heat of the moment, I made a sarcastic, rude comment.
In another incident, he reportedly demanded his table's drinks be comped after finding a hair in his food. This sounds reasonable until you hear that, apparently, he finished the food that had the hair in it. After the dirty laundry was aired publicly, Corden calls the incident so silly and maintains that he did nothing wrong. Regardless, social media was filled with accounts trashing Corden's Karen behavior of belittling staff.
The restaurant manager and the server, they were lovely. They brought out 4 glasses of champagne as an apology, but we were like, that's not necessary, we don't need it. We'd had a great time. Even for me, it was too early to start drinking.
Changing gears, who do you think is the humblest celebrity around? Let us know in the comments.
Being
what car
honest.
did your dad drive you to school in?
So my dad did.
No, one answer.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from Watch Mojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.